Welcome back to part 2 of Board Game Breakfast today,
The
July
most important
26th.
part, one might say.
Yeah,
This is
so
the healthy
if you watched the last one, we talked about jumping and crossing. Well, one person fell out of the car and died, and they got run over.
Wait, which one of us died?
It wasn't us. It was
Run
one of
over.
the,
We tried our best.
it was the computer who was driving the thing.
This is why robots should not drive cars.
It does look like we just lost a piece of equipment. We should have.
Rory's giving me the death eye right now. I'm in his Tesla.
Anyhow, so if you remember last time, let me recap. Hellas, okay game. People said stuff about various games. We told you some awesome stuff coming from the Dice Tower this week. And now we're all caught up. Let's go to some contributors.
Hello, Proti here, your Romanian content creator, and today I will continue my series where I will talk about a specific part of a game, and today we will talk about Seven Wonders. Seven Wonders is the classic drafting game where you have cards in your hand, you draft a card, keep it in front of you, and pass the cards to the next player, and then everybody reveals simultaneously and build the buildings, make the wonder, throw the card away for money, and so on. What I wanted to discuss about today are the wonders, the ones that you can build. You just place a card beneath that by paying the resources and get the benefits. They are two-sided. I have the old version here, but it's, let's say, similar in the new version too. And what I wanted to talk about is specific the Alexandria wonder and why I like it, and if I get a chance to play with it, I'm really happy because it's giving you a lot of flexibility. Why? Because when you're building the wonder, like on this side and on this side like this, usually you get some resources that you can choose from. And that means that you can build more things without paying money to your neighbors, so that you buy different resources that you don't have. And that's why I find it a really interesting one, and it gives you a nice resource too, like a harder one to get, a special resource. But in the end, what's really interesting in this wonder, and I really like it, is the flexibility that you get, because if, for example, if you play with the B side, you have, for the first level of the wonder, you have one basic resource that you can choose from, and then one special resource for the second level. And it's quite nice because then you can build buildings, use them for upgrades and so on, and don't have to pay to your neighbors if you don't have a specific resource, because first of all you can choose from the flexibility that your wonder is giving you. So this is what I wanted to talk about, Seven Wonders. Have a nice breakfast.
All right, we're halfway through the year, which is not quite true because we're more than halfway through the year, but we're close enough to being halfway through the year since our year doesn't technically start till February 1st anywho. Sort of, kind of.
That's true, because the Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
that makes
Kickstarter
sense.
thing. It's like a fiscal year. It's
A fifth school year? Like fifth grade?
You're getting really bad today.
I'm gonna get kicked out real quick.
Anyhow, so just some updates. Okay, first of all, we need a new computer. It's time to start a Patreon. Anyhow, yeah, that's kind of an unexpected cost. But anyhow, so let's talk about gaming in general. I think gaming is doing very well this year. There's obviously the shipping crisis has affected the cost of games.
It really has. It really has.
Kickstarter is definitely on a precipice, in my opinion, of something where that. But the games are still being funded. Games are still being delivered. There's a lot of late games that didn't show up in 2020 or 2021 or 2019 that are showing up now. In fact, like Blood on the Clock Tower was supposed to be delivered in 2019, and so was Carnival Zombie, and they both are delivering now. So we're going to, I think, see a bunch of games come, although the Kickstarter delivery on games at this point, I think, is much larger. Anyway, games are good. I made a list here, which I will not show anybody, of, I went through, this is a different list, of could I make a top 10 games of the year? And I can, right now.
Well, that's progress.
No, but I mean, that's good. I always think that's a good, like at this point, this would be a top 10 list that I would be, if it was the end of the year, I would think it was a good year.
Okay.
Got it, right, because
So-
it's pre-Gen Con still. We've got a few of those games that are kind of releasing at Gen Con. We have a few of them, but even with that, there's been a pretty good slate, outside of the... And then with Gen Con and Essen coming up, that's when the biggest releases come out of a year, so...
Yes, although not as much because of Kickstarter. Some of the
fair.
biggest releases of the year are
Okay.
Kickstarter, some are not. But either way, gaming seems good in that regard. People playing games seems good. Conventions are back-ish. Most of the conventions are back. There's definitely a lot of arguments and discussion on how conventions are coming back. You know, how do we approach conventions in a post or endemic world? You know,
Yes.
so how does that work? And that's going to be something people argue over for the next 25 years. But we're seeing them come back. We're going to Gen Con next week. Origins happened. Archon happened finally. Dice Tower East. So
Yeah. And people were happy. I think that's one of the biggest things is people are happy to be
Sure.
gaming at a
They
convention.
they were. That worked
now
out really
we're
well.
edging. I hesitate to say we're going back to normal. We're just edging towards a new normal, is where it's at. To the point where there will come a day where you'll be like, well, it's. I always compare it to TSA, where I tell my kids, I used to go to the airport and you used to walk away up to the gate and say goodbye to people.
Sure.
That's like unfathomable now. It doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Or when you land it, they were right there at the gate. You got off the plane and you hugged people. And now you have to go through security. And that's something that changed and it changed, and it's a permanent change and we'll never go back, probably.
I still do not understand why I have to take off my shoes. But now I have TSA pre-check for the first time in
Well,
my
I do
life.
know why, because there was some shoe. I'm not hesitant to say the word bomb on this channel. I don't want like YouTube
Yeah, sure.
flagging me, right? But that's why.
Right,
And
I
then it
understand.
never changed.
Yeah, once, like 20 years ago.
Yeah, well.
Wow.
It just, yeah, and so that's the thing, is sometimes there's a new normal, that's fine. That's fine.
It happens. Also, Jeremiah, thanks for the super chat.
And
Oh,
Jerry.
that's very nice. Thank you.
Oh, and
new
Jerry.
computer fund. Great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay, so all that being said, on the Dice Tower level, we've run the Spring Spectacular, the Summer Spectacular. We run Dice Tower West and Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower Cruise. So we've run 3 of our 4 conventions, so that's out of the way. We've run 2 of our spectaculars. We have run lots of different news shows and various things. I will say that we will be taking a hard look at running Dice Tower East and Summer Spectacular so close together next year, or even if we will do 4 spectaculars, because I know y'all enjoy them, and they're fun for us, but they're also quite exhausting and very tiring. And even this week, we're kind of back and rest and relax a little bit, but we're a little tired from running all that stuff. And then we're going to Gen Con.
Busy summer.
So it's always hard for the Dice Tower to decide what to do. Everyone's like, why don't you go to Origins? Why don't you do this? What was that look for, Mike? Oh, that's my tie thing. Is that bothering you, or are people noticing it?
On the screen, sorry.
Ah,
Oh.
Does that keep your tie down?
it does. It
Thank
does.
you, David. Yeah, you put it
Ooh.
through the little loop on the back.
It's great.
And it doesn't ruin your tie like a tie tack.
No, yeah, it attaches to 2 buttons, and then it fits through here. It only works if you haven't broken this little piece in the back of
Yeah,
your
the
tie,
little
which I
piece
have
of
done to
fabric.
1/3 of my ties.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you have to reinforce the tie talk really
And
quick.
sometimes if you
I
tie
have
your
that
tie,
problem all the time.
it's at the very, very top or the very bottom, and then it crunches up the tie. Otherwise, it works amazing.
Also, you can make those.
Shark Tank.
You can also just make those by when you are going to throw out a shirt, you just cut that. You just cut the button up part of it off of it, and you just use 2 buttons. Like you just use the part.
the buttonhole part?
The buttonhole
From the shirt?
parts from the previous shirt.
No, you can buy 20 of these, Chris, for like $3. So
Okay.
no.
You can make
Well,
them yourself, Tom.
No.
Okay, well,
Crafty.
that was a life hack from 12 years ago before you could buy them.
That's true.
Before
And I would do
Amazon
that. That's
existed.
like, you remind me of my mom. It was like, we can turn those pants into shorts. I'm like, or we could buy shorts.
Yeah, that's fair. Those weren't
Yeah.
commercially available when I was on my mission, like 12 years ago. And I was going through shirts because I was sweating through them a lot.
Okay, so from the Dice Tower, we had a very good first half of the year. There's stuff, always things that go on, but we thought the Kickstarter went well. We think our content has improved over the past 6 months. I think so. Gaming has improved. We're down to a rhythm here. The biggest thing, of course, is just that there's stressful periods. It was weird because in March, April, we're like, hey, not much going on. Then June, July, August, September, it was like, and we're like, do you remember those times where there was not a lot going on? But we still want to do reviews, and we still want to do, stuff for you guys on the channel. So again, you'll see a lot of that this week. There are reviews coming out, and I got I can see them on the shelf over there. 30 more games to review, and we're continually playing more and more games.
He's not exaggerating. I think it's actually 30.
It
No,
might
it's like-
be. I'm gonna count now.
I counted it was like 32 or something, but a couple of those games I've already reviewed. So it's going to be an erroneous count. Anyway, that's where we're at for the Dice Tower for 2022. Let's hope we finish well. Let's hope the year continually gets better. Let's keep going on this newer computer.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Today we are talking about Destinies from Lucky Duck Games, 1 to 3 players, and it is a role-playing and tile placement game. I'm going to say this first thing first. It's my first 10 out of 10 game.
Shock horror. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is right up your straza, isn't it? Because this is, it's like an RPG on the table, like Skyrim, as you said. Works in the same way that, say, Chronicles of Crime does, where you're scanning QR codes and it's all run by an app. So again, a bit similar to Mansions of Madness.
Music.
Yeah, you're laying out tiles, trying to discover the land that you're in and find out things about the situations that you find yourself in.
people you see.
There's like a fog of war where the tiles are face down until you explore them, and then they become active, and you put people on them and places that you visit, and you QR code to see what's happening. And you're just basically trying to fulfill your destiny. You've got 2 destinies on your character card, which are randomized. You can choose whichever character. You've got 2 options to fulfill. And as you go along, you fulfill them and become the sort of first one to fulfill your destiny. You win the game.
And you've got intelligence, dexterity, and power to use.
Yeah,
along
you roll
the way,
dice
talking to people.
sort of to
finding things
test
along
those.
the way.
Yeah, so like say if you want to break down a door, you roll dice with your strength. You exhaust dice, you get dice refreshed. You've got a character board with all your different strengths that go up and down depending on your skill levels and your experience. Fabulous game. It's just all run by the app. It's just it's just seamless, absolutely seamless. We really enjoyed this game as a 2. I mean, it goes up to 3, weirdly, but
I might try it as a 1 actually.
yeah, it does play solo in 2 different modes as well. So there's exploring mode and there's a timed mode. So
Highly recommended.
yeah,
By
we
2
definitely
panels,
feel you should check this one out. We haven't said much about it, but it's just there to be explored. Just go and explore it. It's a great game. Thank you, guys. So check out the full review on our channel. Destinies, a tiling and exploring game, RPG style. Fantastic. See you on the next one.
Bye.
Assalamu alaikum. Imperial Settlers Roll and Write had the solo sheets as well as the competitive sheets. But one of the things that you might have noticed in the game, that the solo sheets, each of the buildings on the solo sheet are different on each of the sheets. So you play one, go to the next sheet, and now the buildings do something else. The building artwork is different. The building functionality is different. Whereas the competitive sheets were all same buildings, same sheets every time. So the variety in the competitive sheets was not there at all. But if you're looking for something that can add variety to even your competitive or even more variety to your solo games as well, then Portal Games have been releasing some promo sheets at each of the conventions. So there are convention promo sheets from BerlinCon, from Gen Con, from Essen, and all of these are now available on the Portal website as well as BGG file section under Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. So you can even do multiple printouts of the same sheet and give it to everyone in your competitive game, and now you're playing a variety of different buildings. So everyone is, even though playing with the same building, but it's different from what came in the box. So if you're looking for that file, look for all promos sheet file in the BGG file section. It's a combination of all the PDFs that were released in the promos. But do look at the comments, because some of the later promo sheets that were released are linked in the comment section as well under that file section. So that will add a lot of more variety of buildings for you to play with in Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. That's it for me. Happy gaming.
All right, so I just watched the 7th episode of The Old Man. It's a show on FX. You can see it online at Hulu. This is a spy thriller of sorts starring Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow. Jeff Bridges is an old man living by himself with a couple dogs. His wife has recently died. And in episode 1, and it's not a huge spoiler, but an assassin tries to kill him. And then you find out, oh, he's a past. Okay, so this sounds like the movie
Red. It immediately, that was the first thing that came to mind.
Except this show is not funny at all. Like, I normally like shows that are funny. I like the movie Red. Red 2 was not as good, but I liked Red. This one here, so Jeff Bridges is an old guy. John Lithgow is the FBI agent in charge of dealing with this, because as you find out, there's something that happened in the past many years ago that they're dealing with. And so the show...
Is it a spy protection program?
No, he is not, actually. Okay. And the show kind of covers a lot of that. So I will say this, as a heads up, they've already announced season 2, which is good, because this is clearly the first half of a season, like Stranger Things. So you will not be. It's not a satisfactory ending. How's that? I want to see more of it. That being said, I really like the show, and I like it despite its distinct lack of a lot of action. There is action sequences in it, but they are really fast sometimes, very brutal. And you can tell he's an old man. I mean, it's called The Old Man, but they're all old men practically. There's one standout character. I mean, I think they're all standout. I think John Lithgow and Jeff Bridges are some of the best actors alive. And their interactions with each other and other people, the acting in this thing is top notch. But I would say a good chunk of each episode is a lot of people talking. And they also go back and show them when they're younger. And the 2 actors they picked to play them, I was astounded. Like, they picked really good actors.
Really?
To play them.
They didn't digitally de-age them?
No, they did not do that. As another movie I just recently watched did do that to somebody. But also, I think one of the characters, Aliyah Shawkat, I apologize if I say her name correctly. She was the girl from Arrested Development. The one at the have you seen Arrested Development?
I saw a couple episodes.
A few episodes, yeah, I don't know.
Well, you should watch it. That's a good show. And you can skip the Netflix stuff. But anyhow, in that show, she's playing like a kid, and she's sarcastic and stuff. In this one, she's playing an adult. She's the aide to John Lithgow's character. She's like his number 2. Well, fantastic. And there's a few other actors in this, and they're all just really well done. But like I said, you'll be watching it. They're talking, then violence real quick, and not for a no reason violence. It like makes sense.
Got it. Okay.
He's not like a Superman, but he's definitely like an amazing. He was an amazing secret agent in his youth. He's smart. Man, it just. I don't know. Sometimes I like watching really good acting. People talk back and forth, and I know a few reviews and people said the show was a little too slow for them. Okay. That bothers me a little bit sometimes, but in this one it didn't, because I found it to be so interesting. But I like it. It has twists and turns. There was a couple moments where they're like, reveal, and I was like, oh wow, that makes sense, but I wasn't expecting that. But I'm also not looking for it. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm not reading internet theories, because I know one person's like, it was so obvious. I'm like, well, it was not obvious to me what happened there.
I enjoy being threaded along by a story. I don't always have to sit there and predict what's going to happen, even though we just watched a show where an episode in I was like, he's going to be the bad guy.
He's going to do it.
You know, it's so obvious, but I enjoy just
Sure, and that happens too, but I did not see that. I did not guess that in this one. And also there's a lot of backstory, which I thought was interesting, because both these guys were in Afghanistan, and they show that backstory and how it affects today. So
that's fun.
And my heart was in my throat a lot, because the show was like, we could kill a major character anytime, maybe. Who knows? Maybe. And so that keeps me interested.
Huh. Okay, I want to know about the action scenes. Are they shaky cam where you can't follow the action?
No.
Like you can see what's going on.
You can see what's going on, but it might be really quick.
Okay, because that was my issue with the Bourne movies, was that I loved the Bourne movies, except the action scenes. I couldn't tell who was fighting and punching what.
In episode 7, there is one of those scenes that I really like, where they follow somebody doing action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a single shot thing, and you're watching a professional be a professional. Not a action movie where the guy's like just shooting and kills people without looking. Like you're seeing someone who's really good at their job doing it, and it's amazing. That's one of my favorite sequences. But there's a lot of really good sequences, and then there's a lot of talking. But the talking makes you go, ooh, because John Lithgow, when he talks, you're just like, I hope he's on my side, and you're not even sure who the bad guys are here. Even now, I'm slightly like, I don't know. There's a person who I didn't think was a bad guy, and now I'm wondering if they are. So I'm really looking forward to season 2.
Secrets. You
Anyway,
said this on Hulu?
Yes, very big. It might be Hulu.
Premium?
It might be. I don't know because it's FX. I don't know, but you can always see if you have a friend with an account. But anyway, that's this. I give it a very big thumbs up.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you not necessarily about these books, but kind of in my head what they represent and a bit of a talking point. So we've got the Zombicide book, we've got the Twilight Imperium book, the Terraforming Mars book, and the Pandemic book. Now I've not read these, but they kind of present something that I think is quite interesting for the hobby in terms of very much sidesteps. Board gaming is very much a niche hobby, right? Let's be honest. It's the hobby rather than the mass market games, so it's already a niche. And then to have spin-off products, you already get sort of Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. But a book in that series? Now, I think it's pretty cool. Certain games like Twilight Imperium, they obviously come with like a lore compendium. Zombicide has that sort of story-ish elements of what you're doing. Pandemic has a legacy. Terraforming Mars is just Terraforming Mars. So the fact there's a story in that universe, I think it's quite interesting, and I'm excited to jump into these stories eventually when I get round to it. But what do you think of sort of board games taking this sort of much jump? It's not just a spin-off game. It's not even a spin-off sort of component or expansion or something. These are an entirely different medium. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comment section below. And I'm Oliver East, signing out.
Hi, I'm Jordan, and a recent game that I've really been enjoying is Planted. Planted is a card drafting game from Phil Walker Harding, and he became famous from card drafting games like Sushi Go and Sushi Go Party. And this one feels very different than those, though. Yes, you are picking cards and passing the rest of your hand over, just like in Seven Wonders and Sushi Go and games like that. But in this one, you are taking those cards and you're turning them in for resources, and those resources are then going to be allocated to these plants. So in Sushi Go, you're trying to collect cards, and you're collecting sets of those cards. This one is not a set collection game. This one is a resource management, very light resource management style game. When you're going to take the cards, turn them in, take your resources in. You also have these item cards that you can collect that are going to give you some engine building elements, where you can perhaps when you take a double sun card, you get an extra sun, or if you take a plant food, you get a wild to go with it. And so you have a little bit of engine building with that card drafting, and then some bonus end game scoring points. And these plants that are just, the whole game is beautifully illustrated. And trying to make these plants grow with these resources. That's kind of the whole core of the game. This one plays super easily. I've played this with a ton of different people the last couple of weeks because it is so inviting. It looks like a game that it looks unlike many other games out there, especially to the kind of mass market. And I'm really happy this game is in Target because it's going to reach a lot of people because it looks so different on the shelf. Yes, as gamers, we have a lot of those nature type, pastoral looking games, but in the mass market, they have kind of wingspan, but there's not a ton out there that are getting out there to the kind of the general public zeitgeist. And I think this one could, because it is in Target and it has such an inviting look. So I really enjoy this one. I think this one could be special. I think it plays really well and haven't had it go poorly yet. And frankly, I just enjoy how it plays as well. So that's Planted. I'm Jordan. Thanks.
Sorry, in the off chat, we were all yelling. Mike has an erroneous opinion about Stranger Things.
Nope. Yeah.
So
Yeah, we all ignore, pretend it doesn't
I'm
exist.
correct.
He also claims to have watched a different show than we watched.
You know, he probably watched the other Stranger Things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for today, folks. We need to get off here because Z's coming on in 13 minutes. Jump over and watch him play another app. I don't know what it is, but it's on What's Happening. Thank you all for watching both parts of Board Game Breakfast. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
Oh, and you've been watching the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vassell and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.